All right, everybody, and we are live just like that for our Christmas Eve edition. I think it's down in the middle over there, by the way. We're still in the latter stages of our setup, but I think we're pretty much ready to go, everyone. I am Andre Casseday, alongside the man of the people, Jenkins, as he tries to untangle himself down there by his computer. More on that here in a moment, right? But yeah, we're here. We're ready to go. Packers and Panthers will be taking place behind us here in just a short while. And we got you covered here at Charlotte Vibe as we get you ready here for today's game. And we have a lot to talk about here over these next, 58 minutes or so, whatever it may be. But there's plenty to talk about here today. But before we set the table and get everything ready for you here today, go ahead and make it a habit. Hit the like button, comment down below, and I have that link over in the comment section pinned and ready to go for all of you to join our broadcast here today as all of you are getting ready, last minute Christmas shopping, doing whatever it may be, and taking in a pretty good matchup today, I would imagine. So feel free to hit up that link that's down below, and we will definitely welcome all of you in. Yeah, as he is getting ready for our fan cam, we're going to show you a little bit of the crowd environment, kind of similar to what we did last week, of course. There's a little bit more fanfare out here compared to last week. I would hope so, especially with the weather being just a tad bit better than what it was last week. With that being said, though, again, everybody out there, keep on leaving those comments and seeing a couple of those filing in. Happy holidays, all of you out there. Christmas is tomorrow, and I think that's where all of us are mentally right now. It's been a crazy week, I know, for Chris and I, trying to get those last-minute shopping checklists out of the way. But, yeah, so we're going to be starting off here rather shortly, but yeah, keep on leaving those comments. This is going to be a pretty interesting game today. Two teams that are on opposite sides of the spectrum, if you will. The Packers still trying to keep pace in the NFC race. And let me just say this before we go any further. The drive-in this morning was rather calm, and I think we have our setup ready to go. I'll put some words behind some of the visuals here that we're seeing behind us. But literally the first set of fans that we saw coming into today's game, or coming into the city, Chris, was Packer fans. And I think, these folks do travel well, so it shouldn't be surprising that, they are here down in Charlotte. I mean, they have no excuse not to show out today due to the weather and due to pretty calm conditions here in the Queen City. But just from initial impression, as we get that camera set up, there's definitely a disparity between the two fan bases, with the Packer fans kind of outnumbering the Panther fans right now. Of course, the gates just opened a little over 10 minutes ago. But in that line that was behind us, we were looking off before the show started. There was definitely a noticeable difference in fanfare from the Packers side and then from the Panthers side as well. So there's definitely going to be some green and yellow in Bank of America Stadium here today. Hopefully we won't see too much of a disparity, but it's definitely noticeable, Chris.
I'm such a horrible coworker, aren't I?
Hey, that's the one thing, whether you like it or not, that he's been able to do for me. He has tested my ad-libbing skills. And hey, you got to do what you got to do with the circumstances that are given to you, right?
Somebody's out there is probably going to call me mean, like, hey, Chris, why don't you go on and just leave Andre out there to drive by himself? And I'm going to tell you that I didn't leave Andre out there. I'm trying to also bring a lot of value to what we do here at Charlotte Vibe to get some stuff set up. And I know you guys don't want to wait for that and be late and then say, hey, it's 11 o'clock. It's where are you guys at? So
right.
It's a little bit of, it's give and take. I appreciate what he does to fill in. So we're about to go through some things. I was just getting the camera set up to try to do something new that I'm going to show you guys, but I want to get through some of these comments here, because I saw some people that came on, and I'm trying to balance my hand warmers here. But let's go ahead and we go live for the reason of interacting with you guys. So we're going to do that now before we get too far into the video. And thank you all for joining us this Christmas Eve. Do us a big Christmas gift favor. I think I can speak for Andre when I say our Christmas wish from you guys is to hit that like button. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers. Independent media is really important that we have numbers and fans. It helps us to get players and coaches on the show. Helps us to do more that you ask us to do. Hey, Chris, why don't you talk to this person, to that person? So help me out by just liking the video. If you've already, if you have not done so, do that. And then subscribe to the channel. It's appreciated. So I'm going to go show this camera here in a second, but Andre pinned in the comments for you guys to join us on the show, ask us any questions that you may like to. But T Green, one of our members of the channel, appreciate you joining us and talking with us today. Carson Henson, Kent Sullivan, Vincent Taylor, Carson Henson, Mark Burks, Shannon, Tyler. Yeah,
whole crew
all you
today.
guys. Appreciate you tuning in. So we're going to try to go to this new camera here, see if it works well. Oh man, that does not look good. That is some bad internet connectivity right there. So I'm gonna try to come back to that camera. I'm gonna put him on the spot again one more time, and play with some of the comments, talk to the people. I'm gonna try to get this camera just a little bit better because I think it'll be some fun for you guys. So
let me get a center shot, because that light, I will say, is a little distracted. So my perspective of your screen is a little distorted right now. But hey, let's get into some of these comments here. We already have a prediction from our guy Ty Green. He's thinking Carolina's going to win 13-10 today, which is interesting, just from how I see it, with the Packers and where their season is compared to Carolina's season. They're going to be playing a little motivated today. If you want to go ahead and pop on screen, they're going to be playing quite motivated because, look, they are at least a game behind from where they want to be in the NFC race. They are still in the hunt. So there's two different sets of motivations. And hey, the same argument could have been said for last week with the Falcons, right? With them losing to Carolina and with both teams playing for different reasons. Carolina, again, could be a spoiler here in this one today. And that would be a good Christmas present, I would say, for all of us, right?
I wouldn't mind going home. My family's here, so I wouldn't mind going home to a larger house with more people. Like, hey, great game. So we'll see. Appreciate the score prediction. Let's see if I have this camera working now for us for this other view here. That still looks like crap. I don't even know if it's working. Doesn't it look like crap? We'll try one more time.
Give it another shot.
I'm going to try one more time, but I'm going to get through a little bit of the show before we get into too much of that. So, where do we start? Let me get to my notes here about where I want to start for the show.
Now, let me just say this too. This was uncoordinated. The red ties. We're both wearing red ties today for the holiday season. I walk into his office this morning and I'm like, oh boy, I think this is the first time we've ever been coordinated with the tie situation in our almost 2 years of working together. So I guess, with it being Christmas Eve, hey, it could be meant to be today that Carolina could come out and pull out a victory today.
It could be. I'm going to let you work the comments again for a second. And I'm going to try to get this camera live video at its finest.
There you go. But hey, that's why you guys love us so much, because we are real about it. And hey, that's part of what we do. So let's go ahead and do some more of these comments here. Just checking in and seeing what's up. Yeah. Let me go ahead and get that other link up here real quick. So camera A, oh, here we go. Now it's calling in. Let's see if we have this other camera working here. Let me pull it up. What do you think about that, Chris? I think that looks a little bit better. Third time is the charm, right? So there's our other perspective.
Our other perspective
of what we're working with here today, right?
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to that camera now. Let you guys see what's going on behind us. This is a live view at Bank of America Stadium. As I think you touched on a little bit about the number of Packers fans here today. It's certainly more than the Panthers fans, but I'm going to actually turn this a little bit so you guys can see.
Get a tighter view of the fanfare here, kind of a 360 view, if you will. But yeah, gates just opened at 11, so
there.
It's a little calmer than what we walked into about a half hour ago, as people are starting to file in now. Starting to see some more Panther fans walk through. But like I said at the very top of the show, there is a noticeable disparity. I'm seeing a couple of cheeseheads now starting to walk up here on Mid Street. But again, these Packer fans, they do travel well. And I don't know if it's going to be anything too crazy in terms of what we saw earlier in the year with the Dallas fans. I mean, that was a pretty noticeable ratio, like an 80-20 ratio. This is more like maybe 60-40. And I think Carolina fans are feeling a little obligated that they show out here today, just due in part with the weather being a little bit better compared to last week.
Yes. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. You guys have been patiently waiting. This week, offensive coordinator Thomas Brown and Bryce Young gave us a lot to talk about. So I'd like to call this segment of the show a look back at the week. So looking back, it's kind of a segue from last week. We had our victory last week with a great final drive against the Atlanta Falcons. How long was that drive?
It was a 17-play drive that spanned 90 yards.
Yes.
Over 7 minutes.
Yes. Really good stuff. So I'm pausing because I'm hoping that I don't have the wrong video here. So here's Bryce Young talking about that final drive that they had against the Atlanta Falcons. Could it be what this team really should be able to be like on a week-to-week basis, and how good of a performance may we have from this team if they are able to build upon that? So let me see if this is the right clip. If not, I'll quickly get the right one up. I'm having some doubts that it will be the right clip, but here we go nevertheless. Bryce talking about building upon that final drive.
It shows us the untapped potential that we have. It shouldn't take that. We shouldn't have to wait till it's that scenario. That's not something that's going to come up every game, so we can't rely on that. So, you see it and it's great, but, we got to make sure that that's not what it calls for, that we're able to do that drive in and drive out. We're able to do that, in all 4 quarters. So, you also see that side, so, that's something we got to improve on.
All right, I totally did not hear that clip because I wasn't properly plugged in. Did Bryce talk about building on the final drive from last week?
He sure did.
All right. So, and I'm getting a lot of feedback in my ear.
Maybe coming from that third perspective that we have there. But to just touch on Bryce Young and his comments there, I think when you look at that last drive and what Carolina was able to do.
Troubles.
There was a lot of good, right? There was a lot of good in what they were able to do, and a lot of things that they did on that drive is sustainable stuff that they can do repeatedly week in and week out, right? With the ability to run the ball, that's something that they've been able to do really well ever since Coach Reich was fired, and that was something that they needed to do more of, was have that ground and pound kind of approach. But to see him kind of grow up and to see him step up to the moment on another occasion, this is now 2 game-winning drives for Bryce Young that he can add to the resume. It's really encouraging to see because there's been so much noise surrounding him and his performance this whole season. And the fact that he was able to put together a relatively long drive that spanned nearly that entire last part of the quarter,
right,
that's really impressive.
Yeah, and I have, hopefully without any fumbles, as these guys have seen me fumble a lot on this Christmas Eve. I now have the corresponding video in which Thomas Brown as well talked about the importance of that final drive, what was good on it, and, again, building upon that for the rest of the season.
Being able to chew up 7 minutes, 35 seconds on the clock, to go 17 plays in any condition, I think is difficult in this league. I think people sometimes probably overlook that. as if it's like everybody can do it, or does it all the time. But I think being able to kind of have our guys be poised, there's no panic, no flinch. Also be great from a situational standpoint. It was great at the end of the game. We called a trap on third down. Chuba had a shot to go score, but obviously understand the situation in the clock to go down the 2-yard line and run the clock out, kick the game, win the field goal. That was probably the most impressive part as far as our overall understanding as an offense.
So some impressive things that took place last week, and good stuff is that last play, not the very last play, but going into that final drive, they're inside the 10, Chuba runs the ball, and to me, and I really don't think a lot of people saw it. Now, it certainly makes sense, but my point was I don't think a lot of people knew it at the time that Chuba went down on purpose.
Yep.
And offensive coordinator Thomas Brown went on to tell us that they have a call, and it's a signal. It's called Rolex. Did you hear about that? Okay, so Rolex is their code word for let's save some time. Let's waste some time on the clock so that we give the other team no time to come back and beat us. So Chuba went down on purpose, and it worked out pretty well. And again, it does make a lot of sense. I just did not see that strategy was used during the game at all for the Carolina Panthers to get that victory. And nevertheless,
let's touch on that a little bit more, because in the moment, right, you're thinking, why are we just going for the field goal? Shouldn't we go for the touchdown there and guarantee us, to be up by one possession in that situation? But when you look at the time and when you look at the timeout situation that Atlanta had, they had to burn their last timeout after Chuba Hubbard picked up that first down that Thomas Brown told him to basically just fall on and not get into the end zone. And that ultimately guarantees Carolina's ability to waste some time, get it down to the very last second, and it legit was to the very last second when they called that last timeout to ultimately get Pinheiro out there to win the game and seal Atlanta's fate.
Yeah, and if I can steal your mic.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I'm trying to find it. I'm fumbling so much. I can't find my chords and all this stuff. But nevertheless,
this is why he's man of the people, because he's figuring it out on the fly, right?
I am. And I got my hand warmer in my pocket.
Right.
I'm burning my leg because I forgot to put it there. But on that point about the drive and wanting the touchdown, like Thomas Brown actually said, I'm an offensive coordinator. I want to put points on the board. Right. So first, I want the touchdown, but just strategically wise, that's the best thing to do. That is what they did, and they were victorious about that. So, furthermore, 3 games into this Chris Tabor interim head coach type deal, right? And Thomas Brown talked about the progress, like the identity of this team, and I want you guys to pay attention to what he says. He talks about essentially, in my opinion, what I got from this is, since Frank Wright is gone, we're starting to establish an identity. And I think if you look at what he said, and when he mentioned that, specifically saying the 3 games, that's been since Frank Reich has been the head coach. Since Chris Tabor has been the head coach, Frank has been fired. There's probably been a little bit more ability for Thomas Brown and the coaching staff that they have to get all on the same page and to do one thing. We all were excited about that all-star coaching staff, but possibly what it did was just had too many chefs in the kitchen, and identities weren't able to be truly established, and now they're starting to establish that. So this is, again, mostly Thomas Brown talking about establishing the identity, but just listen to what all he talks about when he gives his explanation for the identity that the Carolina Panthers are starting to get.
I think it's a week-to-week process as far as us establishing who we are. I think definitely in these last 3 games, it's kind of gotten somewhat into the mode of understanding how we kind of play from an early down standpoint, run the football, the marriage of play action pass and movements kind of going with that. I think we're probably averaging close to 160 yards the last 3 games as well. So being able to kind of build upon that, but obviously continue to put together in the best spot to have success.
Yeah, and with that being said, he just said it right there. Over the past 3 games, 160 yards averaging running the ball. And you notice that in their performance in terms of situational game situations, right, where they're being better about managing their timeouts. They're being better about how they're using the clock. And part of using the clock is by running the ball, which is establishing everything else within your offense. While Carolina hasn't been able to pass the ball really well at all this season, over these past 3 games, there has been some things, tangibly speaking, where you're like, okay, there's something there. Time to throw the ball. I mean, Bryce Young, he was sacked a couple of times last week, but over the course of this stretch, I feel like there hasn't been as much pressure because of that reestablishing of running the ball and being focused on setting the table and then allowing the goods to be put on the table when those passing situations are being put into play.
Yeah, and I continue to just look like the goofball during this live show, so I thank Andre so much for keeping it all together. My cords are going all over the place, but we're starting to get into our groove this show. I see a lot of comments commenting. I do appreciate it. I think you guys do like all the hustling that I'm trying to do with the video from the week, the other angles and stuff like that, so I appreciate you guys very much. One more from Thomas Brown.
Okay.
Right? There's been something that's been happening, and it drives Twitter crazy. I know you know firsthand.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
It
drives me crazy.
And what are we talking about? What is the use of shotgun on 4th down? And this week, Thomas Brown talked about that directly. Is the 4th down situations, being in the shotgun, and what they do. And I'm talking a little bit more because I done lost my spot as I try to get that video, but now I have it, so here you go.
As you watch across the league, you watch 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, there's a number of different options you have when it comes to being in the gun, or they be a pass, being an RPO. And to me, for us, it's been less about that being the issue of why we haven't been successful, and more about individual getting beat to point of contact, getting knocked back in the backfield, or had a 4th and 1 a few weeks ago, and we had a receiver that was open and unfortunately kind of slipped and fell on the ground, which is can't really control that from that standpoint. But I think it's going to be a mix of us being able to put our guys in the best spot when it comes to under center our gun from a gun standpoint to affect and attack the defense to put us in better spots. I think we were.
All right, I'm coming back. Just give me a second. There we go.
Cool deal.
You like that?
Yeah, that was pretty smooth, right?
So there was Thomas giving you some explanation about the 4th and shotgun. Because we have the band going by, I'm going to go ahead and switch to that camera. Look at it. It's a little bit fuzzy,
choppy,
unfortunately.
But you can definitely hear the band in the background there.
And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, again, let Andre be the professional that he's so good at narrating. So I'm going to switch back to this main camera. I'm going to zoom in, let you guys see what's going on behind us, and Andre's going to narrate to you for a second.
Let's do it, right? As long as I don't get too tangled up here, because I'm trying to make sure you don't get tangled up with your wires too. I can see it popping out. But yeah, they're at I want to say it's the East Gate. You know, we've been doing this for a good bit now, and I still don't know what gate is what, but the percussion, as they call them, right? They're out and about, get people hyped up and ready to go for today's game. Oh, yeah, let me get out of the way. I apologize to that, ladies and gentlemen, but yeah, they're out and about. And, you know, it's a pretty good day for it here today. A lot of people are out celebrating the holidays. You can see people are dressed up for the occasion. See some Christmas hats as well off in the distance as they get into the game here. But yeah, I would say definitely more activity compared to last week. But let's get back into what Thomas Brown said in regards to the calls there. Ooh, that's a real tight shot there, Chris. But regardless of the fact, right, that has been a pet peeve of mine, and I know a lot of you have definitely indicated that in our conversations that we've had on Twitter. And I wish we had the part of the clip where I believe it was Vashti who asked that question. Vashti from Carolina Blitz, our colleague alongside us there. The tone in which she asked that question, because she asked it in a way where it's like, I don't do play calling, right? So can you just try to, you know, for a lack of a better term, dumb it down and try to justify what the thought process is like when you do call fourth down play, empty backfield out of the shotgun, like what goes through your mind as an offensive coordinator. And while I do like his answer, and he has a way to kind of be educational while informative in that kind of situation, it still kind of ruffles my feathers a little bit, because you just need to get 1 yard. Don't try to overcomplicate something that could already be complicated if you go about doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And you just need 1 yard, right? So just line up, get a 9, 10, 11 set personnel if you have to. Get them big boys out there and just run the ball. That's all that we're asking for in a situation like that.
Yeah. And he said he gave some stats about how successful they've been in it.
Right.
I'll be honest, I have not had a chance to go back and dissect what he said versus what I know, because I've only missed a couple of games from this team. They're not highly successful on fourth downs, right? And he said at the beginning, I'm not sure if I played it in the clip, he said, are you talking about our lack of success, or like he said, your lack of success? Well, if you have a lack of success and you said it, well, then you haven't been, again, I forget the numbers that he used in that video, but you haven't been extremely successful in that. So nevertheless, again, part of our look back, we are going to get into some comments here. I want to, again, give this guy some props for his on-the-fly adjustments, because I'm trying to do all this stuff, and he can't hear me well. The band's going by. But we're trying to make this entertaining and fun for everybody, and I hope that you are enjoying the show today.
And hey, that's what it's all about. We want to give you guys the best production value possible from an independent media source, right? So we're always going to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. And if it looks a little messy along the way, right, hey, just know that we're putting in the necessary steps to try to make that process as smooth as humanly possible.
All right, let's go to some comments here.
Let's do it.
I haven't been to some comments. We're gonna scroll up to the top. We had a super chat. Did we give the super chat props?
Not yet.
Whoa. Now, you did smile greatly when this happened earlier about the super chat, and I couldn't see his screen, so I was kind of like, wait a minute. But hey, super chats are more than greatly appreciated because, honestly, I wish I had a production guy to handle all this runaround that you see me doing. That's what a lot of companies will have, so that their talent can just sit there and focus on giving you content. But Mark Burks, I think, was a big contributor last week as well. So
and
Mark,
an awfully generous super chat too, I may add.
Awfully. Hit the wrong button, even though some applause always needed.
Super chat.
Super chat. Thank you so much, Mark Burks, for your $20 contribution. Happy holidays. Thank you so much, and blessings to you for that. We appreciate it very much here at Charlotte Vibe. All right, let's go ahead and get to some other comments that we can go through really quick. Do we have the inactives out yet?
Not yet, but they are going to be out here shortly, so we're going to be standing by for that.
Vincent Tro says, hey, Chris, how are you? Doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. Love what I do. Can't complain. Enjoy covering the Carolina Panthers for you guys. Carson Henson says, happy holidays to the Charlotte Vibe family. This is my Christmas attire. As you can see, he has a red tie as well, but a little bit of red and tan. I couldn't throw in any green. I feel like that was too much for a suit. I know some of the players out there with a lot more money have worn some creative things this holiday season to celebrate, while also trying to look formal during their shows, but I'm not going to go that far. But yes, happy holidays to you as well. Merry Christmas from Mark Burks. Shannon Tyler says getting a W today. She's calling it right
I'm
now.
feeling the optimism from everybody.
And then I think today, Carson Henson over here said that Andre's carrying here. Yeah, he's been carrying this broadcast today by far. Best tie knots on YouTube.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
You like that?
I'm shocked by that.
He's covering up his tie with his jacket, but
I'm trying to stay warm over here.
I'm going to hold my mic lower now so that you can see my tie.
I appreciate that, man. That's something right there. Appreciate the love that everybody is showing out there today and the giving spirit.
North of 300 yards for the first time today. Okay.
There's a chance.
Kent Sullivan with a 16-14 prediction for the Carolina Panthers. So I know I usually don't talk about it much, but you want to go into your predictions for today's game. And also if you have it, again, I just threw all this stuff right at him before we came on air. If you want to share any of the things to look for, facts about this matchup today, Green Bay Packers, Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So let's start off with the prediction. I guess I'll be convicted enough today in my, standings here, right?
Okay.
I do think Carolina has a realistic shot of winning today. If they do, they're going to have to keep it low scoring. Of course, on their side of things, they have not scored over 20 points in 8 straight games. That's one of those facts that I just found out about not too long ago. It's been since the Miami game back in, I believe it was, week 8 or week 9 of the season.
That was a while ago.
The last time that they scored over 20 points
2 months ago,
game,
for sure.
Right? So I do think Carolina wins. I think it's going to be another low-scoring affair. I'm going to say we'll go 20-17. I'm thinking they're going to go over 20 today, man.
Over 20 today?
Here's the thing. We're a day out from Christmas. Everybody's going to be in a good mood today. I think they pull it out. With Green Bay giving up 34 points last week to Tampa Bay and giving up a perfect passer rating to Baker Mayfield, 158.3 and 4 touchdowns. I think there is some
NFC South Player of the Week for the offensive side.
I think there's some opportunities there for some success. In Carolina, it's going to be up to them in order to execute and take advantage of those opportunities because, hey, there's a realistic shot that they could put up some points here today if they get at it and get at it early.
Another compliment here. Love the ties, fellas.
Okay.
Hey, I picked this out moments before running out the house. I have a few different red ties, and I'm glad I picked the right one for you. Hit the like button if you like the ties. How about that? We were not grateful enough to get the super chat from Mark, but we know everybody can't do that. So just hit the like button, and we'll continue to do what we do. I saw a different Bryce Young last week. If that trajectory continues, we are in for a breakout game today. Maybe it's the holiday season making me feel optimistic, but I got a great feeling after last week. So Bryce was definitely happy last week after the game, which he should be. He got a victory. Can that carry over today? I think, again, from that clips I played earlier with Bryce Young talking about, you could kind of hear it in his voice, like, man, if we could just build on that final drive from last week, it was so great. They didn't only just throw the ball. They threw the ball, they ran the ball. They had good strategies from the coaching staff that was called in and was able to be executed well. And it was great, so why not be able to build off of that? Thomas Brown talked about the identity that's starting to come into place these final 3 games. And again, I feel like that's a little bit peel that back a few layers, and it's maybe because, we have fewer guys that are in that meeting rooms talking about the game plan, and I'm wanting to do this, and this guy's wanting to do that. Who should we follow the most? I can call the play, but he can override the play. Like, you don't have any of that going on anymore. And Chris Tabor, when he took over as interim head coach, said, he's going to let those guys
do their thing.
That means Evero on the defensive side, which has been awesome.
Right.
Awesome. And then Thomas Brown on the offensive side. Certainly both guys could have a little bit that they want to improve on each week, but it's been getting better, and hopefully today we can see it start to build into something really, really nice. Chris Mack, one of our members, we want to give you some – let's get that win today. Thank you all for what we do. Dab 828 asked about ticket prices. Did you get a chance to look at ticket prices for today?
I'll guarantee you this. They are not as low as what they were last week.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that. But if I had a number, it would be a guess because I haven't really browsed around.
Well, you have a co-host you could ask.
Do you have any idea?
Yes, I actually looked last night. I was trying to convince some of my family to come to the game. As of last night, they were $30.
Which is not that bad.
Which is pretty good. And there were some $40 tickets that were upper level. And about the 30-yard line, 15 rows up, which is a pretty good.
Right.
The 30-yard line, $40 ticket, upper level, 15th row. So I don't know what they are currently, but they were looking pretty
respectable,
pretty digestible last night for sure.
Anywho, the inactives are out now. I know we've been standing by on that for a while now, but they are out and ready to go.
All right, let me get that loaded up.
But yeah, back to the ticket prices. I mean, for a late December game. Obviously, with the Panthers not being in playoff contention, they're not going to be astronomical, right? But hey, $30 to $50 for a upper bowl seat. That's kind of on the lower end of that section, as he described there. That's not that bad for an NFL game. And then you're going up against a pretty historical team in the Green Bay Packers. So there's definitely some value there, some bang for your buck in that regard. But definitely respectable on that side of things as well. And before I get any further, and I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself, but I think I may a little bit, because I'm feeling the positive vibes. I am feeling the optimism. If Carolina wins today and they close
My
out
wife
the season,
wants you to dance.
she wants me to dance. Okay. I will have a move for you post-game. I can guarantee you that. My mind's a little frazzled to think of anything off the top of my dome, so we'll stand by for that. But leave it down in the comments section, because I want to hear your thought process. If we do win out these last 3 games.
Went out.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know he was coming with that.
How does everybody feel about that? I really want to get a sense of what the temperature is in the room in regards to winning out the rest of the season. Could it happen? Probably not, if I had to be real about it, right? But if it does happen, where does it leave all of you out there? Leave it down in the comments. We're going to go over the inactives here rather shortly, because we have that ready to go. But yeah, leave it down in the comments. How would you feel as a Panthers fan? I would feel pretty conflicted. That's just my take. But how would all of you feel if we do actually win out the rest of the season?
We got to come back to that, because I want to talk about it.
Yeah,
So
that's a spicy one right there for
that's
you.
he threw. I like it.
Yeah.
See, we're growing. He's throwing stuff on me in the middle of the show, and we're rolling with it. So final 3 games will be today: Green Bay Packers. Next week, Jacksonville Jaguars, and then coming back here to Tampa Bay. So while you guys think about that, let's go ahead and get this inactive list up for today.
Okay. Let's start with C.J. Henderson. That's a little bit of a surprise there. So cornerback C.J. Henderson, offensive tackle Ricky Lee, offensive lineman Iku Leota, wide receiver Mike Strawn. I got it right, ladies and gentlemen.
You got it.
Mike Strawn.
Yes, sir.
Wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr. and defensive end Chris Wormley are your 6 players that are going to be inactive for today's game. And I'll go ahead and read it one more time for everybody out there. C.J. Henderson, offensive lineman Iku Leota, offensive tackle Ricky Lee, wide receiver Mike Strawn, wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr., and defensive end Chris Wormley are your 6 players that are going to be inactive for today's game here in Carolina.
Now, I'm going to let you give some more feedback on that if you have it, but I forgot to tell you guys the elevations. They had some standard elevations.
Yeah.
I know Gabe Jackson, offensive lineman, was an elevation. Do you know the other one? Do I need to look it up real quick?
There's another offensive lineman, but the name is leaving me right now.
J.D.
Dorenzo
was activated for today. 2 offensive linemen were activated. I'm sorry, 2 offensive linemen were elevated. The inactives have come out, and they're not on that list, so that means those 2 elevated players will be active players for today, helping protect.
A lot of technicalities.
Yeah,
I don't do technicalities, Chris.
I got to get it right. I got to get it right for today's game. So did you have any more comments you want to share about that inactive list and what's on there?
C.J. Henderson, that's kind of the one that catches my eye. That one is a little bit of an interesting one, because he did get hurt in last week's game. So not having him out there today is a little bit of a loss, but at the same time, Dante Jackson and J.C. Horn are going to be holding it down. They'll have more of Troy Hill out there filling in for C.J. Henderson. So they have pieces behind him to be able to fill in. But not seeing C.J. Henderson out there is a little disappointing. Of course, what turns out to be a weekly edition of Terrace Marshall Jr. being on the inactive list. Yeah, this is 6 straight weeks now that he has been a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
So again, it's another one of those situations where it's like, there's a major disconnect happening there, and it's unfortunate for him, a young player that is in his 3rd season. He wants the opportunity to break out, but it's just not happening here in Carolina, and that's really unfortunate for him.
And with Strawn being on that list again, Strawn and Marshall been on that list, that means Amir Smith-Marset is going to be a part of this offense today. Last week they were able to work him in with the jet sweep quite a bit, and it was successful. I forget how many yards he had, but I know it was very successful for what he did. So obviously I would say they're going to be looking to build upon that. I'm hoping that they're not going to try to do 4 of them today, because I'm pretty sure that Green Bay watched the tape and they're going to be aware of it. But it'd be pretty interesting as to you watch this game today to see what else they go to do and how they continue to try to evolve with Amir Smith-Marset. So let's go ahead and continue to run through this. Let's look at this. Taima Jenkins says, hoping for a victory today, carrying on momentum from last weekend. That is the lovely wife tuning in, which I appreciate. Thank you. Like it's always more better. I'm going to use bad English to come home, and there's a victory. So thank you.
And like I said, it's a family affair here at Charlotte Vibe. Continued family support and continued family growth with all of you out there continuing to comment and keep on liking this video, because it gives more people the opportunity to see what we do here at Charlotte Vibe and give more Panther fans and just NFL casual fans more of an opportunity to see what we are about here at Charlotte Vibe.
All right, so we've got about 15 minutes left. We're going to go through a little speed around of a few things that I had that I want to kick around with my buddy here, and then we're going to run through some more of these comments. Weather out today is pretty good.
It is.
I am very cold-natured, though, so my toes are still a little bit freezing. My hands are a little cold, but it's a beautiful game out here today. So the attendance is going to be better overall this week than it was last week. We're going to have a good amount of Packers fans out here. And Cam Newton, a previous Carolina Panther, has been very vocal the past few weeks on his podcast, talking about lots of topics, talking about players in the NFL, but he's also been talking about the Carolina Panthers. And he saw the video last week pregame about the attendance, and he's like, whoa. So he put out another plea to David, I believe he said Gunther is his middle name. I'm not 100%, but I feel like it was a G. But David G. Tepper about, hey, Tepper, let me come and be a part of this team president. Give me some kind of position to where I can help shape this team and bring back the culture that I tried to instill while I was there. And I want to do it so bad that you don't even have to pay me. You can make it commission-based. So if my services aren't being effective, I'm not getting paid, right? And he said, I guarantee you I will hold everyone accountable for their success. So I'll let you comment on that in just a second.
Yeah.
You ready? I'm giving you time to think about it.
I'm ready, man.
But I'll start off with my comments on like Cam Newton back in some kind of position where he can help this team with the culture, with maybe the recruiting of players and bringing a lot of fun here to the Carolina Panthers. I think it could happen. I'm sorry, whoa. Not I think it could happen. Do I think that Tepper, that's the bigger part, right? Would David Tepper give him that opportunity? Well, here's the biggest thing that I want to comment from that. So a lot of people are saying that David Tepper is a guy that doesn't listen to people. He's hard-headed. He's stuck in his ways. So having a guy that wants to kind of do their own thing, he said hold David Tepper and people accountable. Well, will he allow that? Is he that kind of person? Or is that the reason why we are the struggling franchise that we are? Is that the reason why you've had other executives within this team leave and go elsewhere, is because he will not allow you to do that? So though I like what Cam is saying, and I think it would be very cool if he was a part of this team, I don't think any organization suffers from having a previous great come and be a part of it.
Right.
May not last forever, but John Elway out in Denver, I don't think he's a part of that organization anymore.
Not anymore.
But he came back, and they had a pretty good run, and he did some great things while he was there. Lynch, did he previously play for the 49ers?
I don't believe
I think it was just a player that came and was a part. But I'm going to throw it to you because I don't want to use up all this time.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. With David Tepper, it's David Allen Tepper. That's his government name.
Thank you for the correction.
I had to verify that just to make sure.
Okay.
But he is not afraid to go outside of the box to do something to try to bring success here to his team.
Tepper's not afraid to go out the box.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, when they considered bringing in Cam Newton back in 2021 to be their quarterback, when that quarterback situation was just on fire, like there was just so many moves, I don't even want to get into that. I felt like David Tepper was the reason why he brought him here. If it were any other owner, if it were any other person, I felt like they would have scoffed at the idea of trying to bring him back. Now we know what the success rate was when they brought him back here to Carolina. Obviously it wasn't good, but it was worth a shot, right? And I think in this situation here, you would have to consider it because this is the worst stretch that we've had in our history. 6 straight years of not winning or not being in the playoffs. So you have to go outside of the box and you have to do some integrative things and innovative things. That was the word that I wanted to use. Innovative things to try to bring some spice back into this team, back into this organization. And I think, with what he has lined up with, everything being incentive-based, that's going to keep Cam motivated to be able to do his best possible job in the role that he is in. So definitely something to consider. Do I think it's going to happen, though? Probably not. But it's worth a shot if they do consider going down that road.
This is a question I would ask Cam. Okay, if they give you that opportunity, if David Tepper sits down with you and says, all right, Cam, let me hear more about your plans.
Right.
My question is, would Cam be willing to stop doing some of the things that he's doing? Right. As in his podcast, right? You may like it or hate it, but if you don't know, his podcasts are extremely revealing and very raw. Would you want your team president or whatever position they could make up to give to him having a platform where he's being so raw and peeling back so many layers and exposing things that Cam talks about? Or do you want him to just hey, focus all your energy on this building and getting these things right, instead of maybe, hey, this is Funky Fridays, I'm going to have this raw issue, this adult issue that I'm going to talk. I don't know. I feel like, would he be willing to, do you think he'd be willing to give some of that stuff up?
I think he would. If it's for the betterment of the team, I don't think his prior arrangements are going to be an issue because he proved it to us for 10 seasons here in Carolina. He's committed and he's willing to do everything that he can to try to make something successful. And I think if given the opportunity, whatever distractions that he may bring to the table, he's going to try and tame it down for the betterment of the organization. And I think he is somebody that is more than capable of doing that.
All right. Unfortunately, for the second time, I have to cut off my rebuttal. I do have one. But continuing on, one more thing and jumping into the comments here, talking about David Tepper. How much do you think he's willing to open up his paycheck to bring on a new head coach that he feels is going to make this difference? So it's been continued to be rumored that he wants an offensive-minded guy. We don't have time to talk about will he bring back Evero, even though Evero has said that Tepper has not talked to him. And when he had, some questions that reporters ask, right? You just have to ask something to get a response. You can't keep going back and forth to try to pin somebody down. You just don't have that kind of time. But he said that, no, he hasn't talked with Tepper. And in my head, I'm thinking, no, he's not going to talk to Tepper. His agent would talk to Tepper, right? So it's he could also say, no, I haven't talked to anybody. Yeah, your agent, your representative, people, have they talked to? Didn't get a chance to ask that question, but I'm curious about that question being asked to Evero. But it was reported this week by, I believe, Joe Senna. I've been getting stuff wrong, so I won't try to go off the top of my head here. But a credible national media person reported that Ben Johnson was seeking $15 million as a coach.
It's a lot of money.
I don't know all the coaching salaries, but I think that's probably more than anybody. If it's not more than anybody, it has to be top 3.
Yeah.
I would think Belichick maybe making near that amount.
He would be worth it, not this season, though. Definitely not this season, but
Yeah.
he definitely would have warranted a contract like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
But developments were that later on, Johnson's agent came out, denied that was the case for the $15 million. The reporter, whose name I'm sorry I'm not remembering exactly, doubled down and said, "Hey, that's what I was told. $15 million." So, what do you think? How big of a check is he willing to write to get the guy? How much do you think? You think he's going to open it up?
He's going to have to.
Why?
The man does not have any leverage. David Tepper has no leverage right now. Look at the performance or the product that he's been putting on the field the past 6 seasons. Losing gives up a lot of leverage and a lot of negotiation advantage that you may have. So the only way that he can garner any realistic interest in coming here compared to, say, the Chargers opening or the Raiders opening, 2 bigger markets and what Carolina has to offer, he's going to have to open up the pocketbook, because if not, then what's your incentive for coming to Carolina? Obviously, you have a young quarterback in Bryce Young, but this team requires a lot of work and is going to require a lot of work to get back to where they once were in the days of the Cam Newton era and, players amongst that on those teams. So it's going to take a lot. It is going to take a lot.
That's
More
a
than
lot.
$15 million, if I had to guess.
All right, let's try to. And by the way, I saw if you've been trying to get on the show today and you haven't been able to get on this morning, it is 100% my fault. I took out my earpiece, so I'm not able to hear that ringing. And I know I saw Quentin disappear at the end. I saw Shakid disappear. My apologies to you guys. Sincerely, again, I took out my earpiece, so I wasn't able to see that to bring you on the show. I promise I will have my earpiece on post-game, so I invite you all that tried to get on to please try again post-game show to come on live. We will talk to you, get those questions answered. My apologies. We're going to try to zoom through.
Hold them to it out there.
Please hold me to it. A few more.
Put them on blast if you have to, right?
Jamarcus says, that's what I hit you up for, Chris, is to become your production guy.
Oh, you got some
Okay.
folks out there.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I did not respond to you, but if I did not, please reach back out to me. My email address is out there easily for everyone to get a hold of, cjenkins@charlottevibe.com. We'll certainly entertain that for something next season. Don't have enough time this season to get you up to speed on what we do, where we do, how we do it to benefit you. But, yeah, appreciate you. And we're small independent. So if you want to volunteer to come on out and help us, that would be great.
And it's a growing family, too. Always a growing family.
Kimberly Harmon says, hey, everyone, hope you have a Merry Christmas. I'm more excited about Ravens versus 49ers tomorrow night.
Oh, boy.
40-10
Oh, my
Panthers.
goodness.
Oh, Kimberly's.
Jeez.
Hey, ease up on the eggnog with the spike there. Somebody spiked their eggnog.
Who spiked your coffee over there, Kimberly? Oh, my God. 40-10. Wow.
She had the baby yet? Is someone asking about if my wife has had the baby yet? Yeah. Our daughter is now 9 weeks old.
Wow.
Sierra Jenkins was born. And, yeah, she's keeping the wife up at night, keeping me up at night. Wife more so than me. But she's here, head full of hair. I might have a picture, but I don't want to. I've been doing too much this show, delaying stuff.
Too much behind-the-scenes work for him today.
But I appreciate you checking in. Some more predictions here. 28-17 Panthers.
Okay.
Let's go Panthers. We need this win. Lots of positive Panther talk out there today. I like it. Christmas.
See, that's what happens when you win, man.
You get a victory and Christmas spirit, and it just
Yeah.
starts coming. One of our members here, Michelle Yvette, let's give her some props for what she does. Merry Christmas. All I want for Christmas is a win for, I got stuff all over the screen.
Panthers and the Eagles.
Panthers and Eagles.
Okay. The Eagles have been on a little bit of a downward slide as of late. So.
Oh, we got one here for the Packers. Packers by 2 TDs.
Okay.
And guess what? People are in the holiday spirit today.
Look at
My
that.
man Quentin, who is not only a member, but he's super chatting with us today.
Giving
Look at
us
this.
some love here today.
Uh-oh, I'm hitting all the wrong stuff, but it's Christmas time. Let's just be merry with all the sound effects
Super
possible.
chat.
Quinn says another win today. I can feel it. Thanks, guys. KP. Keep pounding.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Quentin.
For those
one
of you
of our regulars, right?
one of our regulars for sure. He's a great guy, and a guy that I did not let on, and I hope that he tries to come back.
I think all is forgiven in that regard.
All right, Kimberly says, love your podcast, Chris. Kimberly, thank you so much.
Yes.
Today we fumbled a little bit, but I appreciate you tuning in and still thinking that we're
But
good to
that's
go.
why we're so good, Chris, and they notice that.
Yeah?
They know that we're human, that we're real people. You know, we don't have the whole behind-the-scenes setup behind these cameras. This is a two-man effort. And the fact that we're able to put out quality content despite all the roadblocks that we've had along the way, again, to everybody out there, we appreciate all the love being shown today.
I feel like I just got a great hug from my co-host to say, Chris, they know that you want it perfect. Ease down, buddy. And I'm gonna take it, Andre. I appreciate the verbal hug there. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, and I'm gonna do what I love to do.
Okay.
A new little thing. It's this guy here. I love him narrating and talking about things, right? So I'm going to turn the camera to pan it on everything else. I'm going to let you stand here so you can see where I'm panning and give some feedback. But thank you guys. This is the last you'll see of me until the post-game show. Please make sure that you tune in to Twitter during the game. That's where my man Andre will keep you up to date on all the happenings, behind-the-scenes stuff, injuries that go on, because we get word about injuries as soon as they happen, often before you'll hear about them on TV. We're also going to have visuals. We do not have our guy Patrick Snyder, but we have our guy from last year, Julio, that's going to be providing us photographs today. He says he has a new lens out there that he texted me about that he's excited to get. So we're going to continue to try to provide some good photos and coverage of the game today. So thank you all very, very much. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Andre, go ahead and take over with the narration.
Yeah,
let me unplug here. I'm about to break everything as I walk away.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
That would be a little on the depressing side, right? But yeah, let's take a look. One last look before we head in ourselves. I'll get out of the way here. I'm a little discombobulated myself, but you got some Packer fans moving in. Say it one more time. I didn't hear you. Okay, yeah. But as he zooms in here, we got a couple of Panther fans filing in as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm liking the attire that I'm seeing from these Packer fans. A couple of cheese heads, a couple of get-ups there. Nice little blazer from that one Packer fan that just walked in. We got some overalls here. Like seeing that. See a bunch of those at the App State games up in Boone, for sure. But yeah, we're seeing some more fans starting to file in, and that's where we'll be headed here in the not too distant future. So for everybody out there that tuned in today, again, we appreciate all the love. Man's got a cooler over there. I wonder what he's got. He probably got some shrimp getting cooked up in there, right? But nevertheless, to everybody out there today, again, we appreciate the support. Obviously, you know, we're headed down to the last couple of games here on the season. There's some more fans starting to file in as well on the opposite side of the stadium. But I say that will do it for us here today for our pregame show. I'm Andre Casseday, that gentleman that's on the screen right there. Chris Jenkins manning it down behind the scenes, behind the camera. But for everybody out there, for our entire Charlotte Vibe crew, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you immediately after the game for our post-game show, and keep it tuned here on Twitter as I got you covered on there as well. Everybody out there, Merry Christmas as well, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you shortly.